We're halfway through our Saturday quadruple header in the quarterfinals of the ECHA tournament, as after a down-to-the-wire second game of the weekend, we're down for a throwdown in the shadow of the Steel Stacks. Hi, hello, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to today's broadcast of the of the Eastern Collegiate Hockey Association's Men Division I playoffs, live here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. A pleasant good afternoon, everyone, tuning in to today's broadcast, as we welcome you back inside the glass of Steel Ice Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, for our Mentos pregame show, brought to you by our good old technical director, Colton Reynolds, giving us the unofficial sponsor for the pregame show, the Mentos YouTube channel. My name is Trey Wright, joined alongside by Matt Fusillo, as we preview our third game of today and tonight at Steel between the George Mason University Patriots and the Drexel University Dragons. We're 2 games into our 4-game set this afternoon and evening, with Villanova taking down the United States Naval Academy 5-2 in the 10 a.m. slotted game. And the Westchester Golden Rams just barely edging out the New York University Violets in a barn burner that went down to the final 5 minutes. And Matt, historically, the number 4 and 5 matchups are some of the best hockey that we typically see in an 18 playoff tournaments.
Trey, it's been already an exciting day so far. Halfway through it. Can't wait to be here for these next 2.
Yeah, we got the next 2 games on tap with Drexel and George Mason right here and right now, and then later on at later on tonight at around 7:45, potentially 8 o'clock Eastern time. We got the home team, the hosting team, playing against the number 1 team. We got Lehigh University Mountain Hawks taking on the University of Rhode Island Rams. That is then and this is now. But previewing these 2 teams here, first and foremost, taking a look at the Drexel University Dragons, who come into the weekend as the 4 seed, and they are absolutely one of the hottest teams to watch out for, Matt. Although they have lost 5 of their previous 10 games in overtime with a shootout, they've got a lot of points that were left on the table that would have gave them a little bit more favorable matchup of 4 and 5. But this is a very, very strong and old-fashioned Philadelphia-based team, Matt.
Yeah, it's been so-so, as you said, these last few games of the season. That's always kind of a big test going into playoffs in any league you're in, but we'll have to see how that goes during this playoff game. But special teams, we'll have to keep an eye on that. You see the statistics are pretty different between George Mason and Drexel, so that'll be something to keep an eye on. But, yeah, as you mentioned, last few games of the season, always kind of a little bit of something to keep your eye on going into the playoffs, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, and particularly for Drexel, you mentioned those special teams, Matt. They have been living and dying by the special teams sword. Their power play is 3rd ranked in the entire ACHA Men's Division I, an incredible 35.8. That high-powered power play, led by Matt Harris, Ryan Sambuco, and Hayden Surratt, has been borderline unstoppable. Their penalty kill on the other side has been absolutely stoppable. In fact, they have not really stopped anything. They are 10th ranked in the ECHA in their penalty kill of 66.7. And then on the other side of the ice for the George Mason Patriots, their power play operating at only 10.4 effectiveness. They are last in the ECHA. They are ranked 75th, I believe, out of 81 teams in the entire ACHA Men's Division I. But those are going to be tabs that we've got to take a look at. Of course, George Mason's penalty kill on the season so far, ranked at 81%. So that's going to be something that they would like to have a little bit more. But overall, you look at these Drexel guys, Ryan Sambuco, Matt Harris, Jimmy Jacobs, 3 grad students have been absolutely holding the brunt of the torch here. In terms of goal scoring, Ryan Sambuco, the grad student, 61 points in the regular season. Matty Harris, the captain, what else can you really say about him? But Hayden Surratt, the freshman from Chicago, Illinois, he is part of that new guard that has been very, very effective. He's got 24 points in his freshman season. And then on the other side of the ice, you've got the George Mason University Patriots, George Goodwin, Matthew Price, and Dylan Chun. Chun, who was out of the lineup here tonight, so that's going to be a big piece missing for JMU. But George Goodwin coming over, played for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights NCDC team last year. He is going to be one to watch, number 25 in green for GMU. But they've had a very solid season. They're a very physical team. But the first period has really been a cold start for this GMU program. That's where Drexel is going to try to have to catch them on the other side. But we've seen time and time again Drexel fall apart in the third period this season. And the third period has statistically been George Mason's best of the season so far.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye out along with the special teams, about how these teams start. You mentioned the slow start for George Mason. Typically throughout the season, that's kind of something notable to keep an eye on, but especially with that power play. I mean, last in the league, and then you compare it with Villanova, we're quite the opposite. So it's going to be a matter of possession. Who gets on the score sheet first? That first goal is going to be huge in this one, especially the playoff. You're going to feel that. So all eyes on the first period to start.
It's going to be an absolute throwdown between a Philadelphia-based team and a Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia-based team, as we'll take a look at today's starting lineups here, beginning with the Dragons, coached by Tyler Woishner in his 6th season as head coach of this Drexel Dragons program. No surprise to see all the guys we previously mentioned, Matty Harris, Evan Mudrick, and Brady Doyle are going to be, that's going to be half of the starting 6, Hayden Surratt and Ryan Sambuco, the 5 skaters. Tyler Richmond is going to be starting in net here for Drexel. Ryan Nocerino dealing with a little bit of an injury bug right now. So Richmond, who has been in that 2 spot, he is 2-0 on the season, called up from the Drexel M2 team earlier on in this season. A Kennett Square, Pennsylvania senior, trying to get things going between the pipes. And on the other side of things for JMU, their starting 6 is as follows, with George Goodwin, Joe Petit, and Matthew Price, the 3 starting forwards, with James Sharp and Wyatt Hinkson on the back end. Lucas Huberger, the Vienna Austrian, will get the start between the pipes for the Austrian junior as we get ready to go here in just a couple of moments. We'll send things downstairs here in just a little bit, but we're 2 games down with 2 to go, and we're in for a throwdown today in Bethlehem as we send things downstairs for pregame ceremonies to get today's 3rd game underway between George Mason and Drexel, live from Steel Ice Center here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. This concludes your Mentos YouTube channel pregame show here on BSB.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Steel Ice Center here in historic Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Christian City, for the 2026 ECHA Playoffs. Today's quarterfinal matchup features number 6 ranked George Mason University Patriots and the number 3 ranked Drexel University Dragons. At this time, the ECHA would like to recognize the 2026 ECHA All-Star Award winners. First, from George Mason, with 9 games played, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points. Second team All ECHA defenseman, number 7, Dylan Judd. And now for Drexel, with 19 games played, 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points. Second team All-Star forward, number 18, Jimmy Jacobs.
Just in time, what do you know all these games start late?
Next, with 20 games played, 6 goals, 13 assists for 19 points. First team All-Star defenseman, number 11, Ben Burgan. And next, 17 games played, 10 wins, 4 losses, 2 overtime losses, 1 shootout loss. First team goalie, number 35, Ryan Incinerator. And next, 20 games played, 16 goals, 21 assists, 37 points. Player of the year, number 29, Ryan Sambuco. And now let's for the starting lineup. For George Mason, in goal, number 35, Lucas Enberg. At left D, number 44, James Sharp. At right D, number 52, Wyatt Higginson. At left wing, number 76, Joe Petit. At center, number 10, Matthew Price. At right wing, number 25, George Goodwin. And the Patriots are coached by Mr. James Galoo. Now the starters for Drexel. In goal, number 32, Tyler Richmond. At left D, number 24, Brady Doyle. At right B, number 25, Ian Surratt. At left wing, number 29, Brian Sambuco. At center, number 17, Evan Murdoch. At right wing, number 6, Matt Harris. And the Dragons are coached by Mr. Tyler Wilson. At this time, the Blues rise to Mr. Caps as the honoration for the Barnett.
There is nothing on this planet quite like playoff hockey, especially 4 and 5 matchups of playoff hockey. As we're ready for 60 minutes of combat here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, as we get ready to go. And this 4 and 5 matchup, Matt, I got goosebumps after that national anthem.
That was an awesome anthem, live rendition. Saw the awards given out to Ryan Sambuco and company. So awards and anthem, we're ready for some hockey.
We definitely are. One final look at the starting six here for this afternoon's game. James Sharp, Matthew Price, George Goodwin, Wyatt Hinkson, Joe Petit, and Lucas Huberger, the starting six for George Mason. Matt Harris, Evan Mudrick, Brady Doyle, Hayden Surratt, Ryan Sambuco, and Tyler Richmond, the starting six for Drexel. Price and Mudrick will meet at the face-off dot. We're underway for game number 3 of the afternoon. Starts with a win for George Mason. And George Goodwin nearly just about tied up, and Ryan Sambuco named the regular season MVP for the ECHA, trying to get it back over to Brady Doyle. Instead, it will come over to the captain of Matt Harris. Harris avoids a crushing hit there from Joe Petit, who spent the last 5 years playing in the Old Dominion state of Virginia. And George Goodwin's first shot is deflected away by Doyle, and we're underway officially. Take a look at today's goaltending matchups, beginning with George Mason, Lucas Huberger, the Austrian junior. 4-6-1 on the season with a GAA of 3.09 and a 92.5 save percentage. On the other side, Tyler Richmond, the Kennett Square, Pennsylvania senior, 2-0 on the season. Played the early part of his year with the men's Division II team in the CSCHC for the Drexel Dragons. He's got a GAA of 3.33 and a 91.2 save percentage. Quick 2-on-1 for the Dragons. Early on, they score! Anton Kazitsky, 45 seconds into the game, lights the lamp for the Dragons, and Drexel leads. And we know that this is going to be a quick start for this Drexel offense. We didn't think it was going to be that quick, as Anton Kazitsky, who has had a season of trial and tribulations, gets a wide open goal on a pass from Jimmy Jacobs, and Huberger caught dead to rights. And the Dragons lead 1-0. Couldn't ask for a better start than that. And they have another potential 2-on-1. Jacobs looking for the goal this time himself. Will send it up into the atmosphere.
Talk about a quick start, Trey. Jacobs and Kazitsky, the 2-on-1, coming in with speed. Jacobs, nice job to get that puck across. Beautiful pass. And Kazitsky, all he has to do is bury that one. Not even a minute in on the board.
They say that a 2-on-1 with an empty netter is about the easiest goal that you can get. As Latham Hutchinson is going to get an assist on that goal for Kazitsky, his only his 5th goal of the season for the Fountainville, Pennsylvania grad student. Again, the amount of grad students and very old guard experience on this Drexel team cannot be underestimated. And we saw it there with Kazitsky with only his 16th point of this season. Getting things started in the right direction for Drexel. And we mentioned in the pregame show, Drexel has been really, really well to start off in this first period. And GMU, they've got to take a little bit of time to try to get things a little bit started up here, Matt.
Yes, they do. Following the theme that we noted during the pregame.
This is taken back into the Drexel end, and blowing a tire there was a Patriot. Trying to take it back there was Nathan Steele for the Dragons, and it'll be dumped in here by the 5 of Adam Lazine. His 4th season with the Dragons. Lazine throwing a crunching hit on a Patriot over in the half wall. And Drexel's trying to get things generated early. Steele was trying to get it back over to Lazine. This will come back over to the 26 of Centino Tiberio. Played for the Mercer Chiefs 18U AAA program a couple of seasons ago for the freshmen. In fact, last season for the freshmen. 17:40 to go in the first period. 2 shots onto Lucas Huberger so far. And trying to take this out the other way on the other side was Dylan Thorne. And Tyler Richmond will hold on for the pause for his first touch of the vulcanized rubber this afternoon. Will not be a shot on goal. For that goal for Drexel, reading Kazitsky from Jimmy Jacobs, who will pick up point number 49 on the season. As well as Latham Hutchinson, who sent that one in on the stretch pass on the 2-on-1.
49 points, and he's 3rd on this team in the point department.
And now there might be a little bit of a discussion with the score sheet, as during the pregame, as Quinn Alley is also talking on the referees, I believe that they may have marked down James Sharp as 44 instead of 4, so there might be a little bit of discrepancy in the score sheet. I wasn't sure when they said that during the pregame starting lineups when they said Sharp was 44. I wasn't sure that was just maybe a mistake, but it might be a clerical error on the side of George Mason, and this could get them a minor penalty here, Matt. With an incorrect score sheet, we see that all the time in the MLB with the lineup card is incorrect.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
And that might be an unfortunate clerical error there out of James Viamo in his third season as head coach.
Alley and Harris, the two captains, gathering with the referees near the scorer's table.
Second season for the Drexel captain for Matt Harris. He also leads the team in goals with 27 and 51 points on the year for the Prosper Park, Pennsylvania senior. Then for Quinn Alley, the Emmitsburg, Maryland grad student who played for the Potomac Patriots a couple of seasons ago. He's got 13 points on the season for the defenseman captain. 3 goals, 8 assists for 13 points. So we finally got that all figured out as George Mason looks to equal the score here, trailing 1-0. Drexel looking for the outlet. That one off of the skates of Eric Eisler. Played a handful of seasons down with Drexel's Division II program. Now the Dragons just trying to get it out of their own end. This will come back over to Satoru Edo. I'll put it right back on the tape of Eisler. Eisler in this fourth line trying to put the one on to Huberger, who will make his second stop of the afternoon. And that one just slinging a little bit wide. Coming back to chase after this is Andrew Body on the other side. Body, as his fourth line goes to work, that'll go out of play for the pause. 16:52 to go in this opening period. Drexel still with the lead. And some interesting goaltending choices for both of these teams. Again, we mentioned it in the pregame show that Ryan Nocerino dealing with an injury bug right now. But you look over onto George Mason, Jonathan Verity, who has been that stalwart in net, even though this has been a goaltending by committee here for George Mason so far this season. Verity has gotten the most starts. He's 8-1-1 on the season. Then behind him has been Lucas Huberger. He's got 11 starts on the season. That's nearly looking for a chance for the Dragons on the other side. But Matt Harris, who was right place, right time, was trying to pop it over. But the net came off of its moorings. Right now, the scoreboard displaying George Mason as the leader, as George Mason, who is the designated road team. But it's in actuality, Drexel is leading 1-0, so our score is correct here, at least on the stream. Sambuca's shot quickly snuffed out and stopped there by Lucas Huberger, the Austrian. Will make his third save of the afternoon. Still a lot of time to go in this game, but Tyler Richmond has not faced any shots directly. Drexel wins the draw, puck shot through traffic. Mudrick wasn't able to chase back in. Sharp trying to lift it out of the zone, but it's kept in there by the Dragons. Sambuca in the corner with Alley right to his 5 o'clock, not able to get it back over to Mudrick, trying to pinch it over at the far side is Boyle. Doyle to Sambuca, who just rolled off the tape, and it comes back over to the 52 of Wyatt Hinkson. Fluttering up into the air, batted down by the captain of Matt Harris. Trying to get it back over to Mudrick, who's surrounded there by Joe Petit, the number 76 in green. Trying to drive in was Goodwin. Drexel will keep it in the offensive zone. Harris trying to get around the defense, not able to do anything. Doyle sending it across. Doyle back with it at the near side. Puts a shot through traffic. And Sharp with a wise decision to get the stick down to avoid a potential redirect as Huberger will make another pause.
Well, smart by the Dragons so far. Already got 5 shots in just over 4 minutes. They already got 1 on the board, so why not keep pressuring the Austrian netminder and his team, George Mason? Why not? I mean,
and this is a Drexel team that their forecheck is their bread and butter of their success. Coming into this weekend, 19-6-7. All 19 of those wins have come when they are absolutely on their A game, when they're forechecking. And again, this is a team, as Drexel still with the offensive zone. Hutchinson just had it roll off the tape a little bit. Kazitsky, the lone goal scorer, trying to get it back over to Jimmy Jacobs. Jacobs looking for an option, looking low slot for Hutchinson. This will trickle all the way down where Tyler Richmond will get his first touch of the rubber outside of the crease, and will lay things back over for Mikolas. William Mikolas trying to get it past Quinn Alley. And now George Mason trying to get things going with Rothermond diving into there. He nearly got into William Mikolas, and those two colliding. The fighting Hawaiian of Tyler Rothermond leading the Patriots in penalty minutes for Mason this season with 82 for the Honolulu Hawaiian. Rotherman, he gets collided there with the 18 of Jacobs. And now Drexel will start from their own side. Quick passing there. Hutchinson, a potential 3-on-2 for the Dragons in the second line. Hutchinson puts on the brakes, trying to get it back over to Lazine. No success there for Drexel, and now we got a player upended. Couldn't tell who that was. That was Latham Hutchinson, who's been all over the ice on this shift. Make that Ryan Lippy. My apologies, who got dusted up there with the 9 of Andrew Farley, former skater for the Westchester Wolves USPHL Premier Team. Bouncing puck just barely steered aside by Tyler Richmond, who misjudged it a little bit, but was able to keep it out of the 4x6. It'll come back over to Lazine. Lazine turns it over. Here in the low slot, Karpov looking for a shot, partially blocked in front. Looking to backhand it out is Lippy, trying to get Nathan Steele on his horse, and he'll go underneath the stick of Ransom. Huberger has got it. Nearly turned it over to Pietro Baccarin, who is crashing in. Baccarin trying to chase after it along with Quinn Alley. Alley has got it caught right under the on-ice official skates. Keeping it in at the point is Surratt. Surratt trying to get it back over to Doyle. Doyle will just dump it in. Delayed offside. Negated there by Drexel as they're able to tag up, and George Mason will reset. Inlet pass, partially blocked. Trying to get out of there is Lance Jasanis. Brady Doyle still with it. Trying to get it back over to Lazine. Lazine with the puck on the tape. East to west pass, back over and flipping it all the way down was Hayden Surratt, and electing to play it after making a nice outfield-esque catch was Huberger, and so come back over. Jasanis just barely bumped off of the puck. Trying to get it back over once again is Tim Marsico, the alternate captain. Trying to get it back over to Jasanis. It's intercepted by Dimitro Mironets. Coming over to the Dragons midway through this season for Drexel. The Bridgewater, New Jersey freshman played for the Rockets Hockey Club 18U AAA team, as well as the Bridgewater Raritan Panthers. Just a little bit down the road, a couple blocks away from my alma mater, the Somerville High School Pioneers. 12:40 to go in the opening period of play. Trying to drive it out is Matthew Price. He gets hit hard. Jasanis potentially trying to get on his horse over at the left wing. Puts a shot on, and that's blocked there in front by Steele. Make that Jimmy Jacobs, I believe, who got that block. A little bit of chaos underneath of Richmond, but the Dragons will steer it away from him. But now George Mason looking for the equalizer, and that's just tapped aside. Rotherman not able to keep it in at the blue line. This will trickle all the way down. And George Mason's starting to come alive a little bit here, Matt.
Starting to come alive, but the Dragons have done a really nice job clogging up that neutral zone, denying any offensive zone opportunity.
Sambuca with a shot short side. It's still loose underneath of Huberger. And able to get it back over to him was James Sharp. It's like, here you go, make the save. Let's give us a little bit of breather here, Buzz. And with just under 12 to go in the first period, it's going to be another face-off in the offensive zone for the Dragons.
Saw it 3 times alone on that shift. The Dragons sealing off their own blue line. And George Mason really hasn't had an opportunity to have numbers going into the offensive zone.
That shot from Ryan Lippy deflecting off of Travis Plylar's stick. So we'll wash, rinse, repeat with another face-off in the offensive zone. You take a look at the Dragons and their history over the last couple of seasons. We'll mention this later on. Sambuca with a quick shot off of the face-off, just a little bit too wide. Slicing shot there from the Grizz student, the team leader in points. Harris throws a hit onto the 12 of Dylan Thorne right in front of us here. Matt Fusillo and Trey Wright on the call. Rotherman not able to hold on to it. This comes back over to Harris. Harris trying to spring Sambuca. That'll just touch up onto Sambuca. We'll play it back over to Hinkson. That's Quinn Alley, who had and lost to the 2 captains both fighting for the vulcanized rubber. Plylar throws the hit onto Lippy. And now it's wheeled out by Santino Tiberio once again. Tiberio at the near side, trying to get around the defensive Price. Mudrick at the near side. Dumps it in. Huberger will stop it. Plays it back over to his captain of Alley. Alley now down the right wing he comes. Wearing 55 for George Mason. Still with it. Takes a shot way wide of the corner. Caron's back over to the other side where Goodwin will try to get it back over. Goodwin is trying to find it back to Petito's over in the far side right-hand corner in the Drexel end. A little bit of chaos in front. Goodwin looking for a chance. It's just over on the backside of the net. I thought it went in for a brief moment. Was on the wrong side of the netting, but it certainly tickled some twine. And now a 3-on-2 for the Dragons on the other way. Kazitsky tied up by a Patriot, comes back over to Jacobs, but his outlet pass a little too far out, and Doyle will come back to collect. Kazitsky chips this one way over. Somehow it remains in. No, they're gonna say it went out of play. I thought that just barely kept in, but I think it just tickled the netting a little bit here on this near side.
They're going to call that an icing. Kazitsky was too far, couldn't quite reach that red line. It did look like it was kind of riding the netting.
He deflected it just a little bit behind us. Quick shot, Richmond with the save. And he will hold on for the pause. 5th save of the afternoon for Tyler Richmond, and both goaltenders have had 5 saves as George Mason now coming back with the previous 3 shots onto the Drexel netminder.
This will be good for them. Get their offensive zone look, see if anything could come out of this.
Steele and Alexei Karpov will meet at the left side dot, right-hand side of Tyler Richmond. Karpov with a clean win, comes back over to Fisher. Fisher sends one into the corner to corner. Trying to lay the body there was Lazine. And Jasanis will send it back in. Karpov on the other side to try and chase. Karpov spinning away. Sends it back out to the point. Shot through traffic, redirects home! I believe that was Tim Marsico who was right place, right time. And just like that, it's a brand new hockey game. It is indeed Marsico with a redirect goal. Just went on top of Richmond, and it's 1-1.
Well, they finally got their big look in the O-zone. Took them about half the period to kind of finally get clicking. And that's what happens. It got it on net, got traffic in front of the netminder, and we got a tied hockey game.
We knew it was going to be a little bit of a cold start for the Patriots, but now they're starting to heat up, and they have got another goal here. I believe that's going to be Marsico from potentially Andrew Farley or McAllister Markowitz, I would say. Now on the counterattack with Sambuco, it just rolled off the tape. Surrett with a drive, redirect just going off of the stick of Huberger. Mudrick's now at the near side. Trying to get it back over to Harris, intercepted here by the Patriots. This will go out of play. And it was indeed from Andrew Farley, and I believe Andrew Fisher is going to get the secondary assist on that goal. So it'll read 81 from 9 and 3. We'll double check all the particulars on the other side of the break as well, but with 9:23 to go, now the Dragons responding with a little bit of mojo on their side as well. 11 shots on to Corey Huberger, who has stopped the last 10. It's right behind him, right on the goal line. The referee says it stays out. It is a dog pile right on the blue paint, and the whistle finally blows. And George Mason dodging a cannonball there, Matt. As Huberger looked like it was a little bit out of position, it was right on the goal line, so tantalizingly close for the Dragons, but they're not able to get the lead back.
Yeah, the referee had a great view about that.
Harris's shot blocked by the upper gear of Huberger. Like we said, has made his last 12 saves consecutively, and this one up and out of the glove of Serrera. There's Taberio, who nearly got burned defensively. Now a Sambuco, quick passing back across to Harris. Hinkson in front of him. Hinkson will win that battle. Hinkson trying to get it over to Rothermund. Just barely kept in by Latham Hutchinson, trying to set up Matty Harris right in the blue plate, and Huberger says no. Lucas Huberger, who has been under fire so far in the last couple minutes or so, cool under pressure. And once again, the Dragons cannot get the go-ahead goal once more. We're still tied at 1.
It's Huberger's 13th save already.
13th save on 14 shots faced. That will go out of play. And we saw this in the game right before this, where Peter Perrone for the New York University Violets he faced 47 shots, and he allowed 4 goals, playing out of his absolute skull in that contest. We might see a similar performance here as Rothermund gets run over there by Lippy. 2 big lads colliding right in front of the DRX bench. Kazitsky, the lone goal scorer for the Dragons, trying to steer it around alley, and it'll come back over to Lippy. Lippy looking for a lane, gets it back over. Here's Kozycki and kicking it into his own net was Huberger. The Dragons take the lead. And that was a situation where you just put the puck towards the net and you hope for the best. And Anton Kozycki, 11 minutes and 45 seconds into this game, is already on hat trick watch.
Yeah, that's a really smart play to him. Drive to the front of the net. You have the puck down low. Looked like it was below the goal line. Smart hockey play, just trying to get to the front, throw it on goal. Sure enough, it gets past Huberger. As you said, 2 goals already for him.
And I don't fault Huberger for that at all. As, you know, he was just going back into the butterfly. There was nothing he could really do. You know, you're always told to do that as a goaltender, is whenever you're in doubt, go into the butterfly. And unfortunately, a piece of vulcanized rubber was between him and the goal mouth. And now Anton Kozycki already looking for a hat trick in this game. It's 2-1 Drexel. I believe Latham Hutchinson is going to get an assist on that play. We'll double check after this period. Here's Goodwin on the counterattack. Rebound comes right back over. It's still losing. What a tie up there out of Lazine. Absolutely tying up the heck out of James Sharp, who couldn't get a shot off. Now Lazine with a shot of his own right onto Huberger. And Lucas Huberger will hold on. Like we were talking about, Peter Perrone playing out of his skull. And another similar performance over on the ACC side of things with former conference teammate of the Drexel Dragons, the Syracuse Orange, A.J. Finta, playing out of his mind yesterday against a one of the top teams, one of the best teams, I think the number 2 team in the ACC, the University of Kentucky Wildcats. Finta wasn't letting anything through.
Kentucky's usually a tough team.
Kentucky moving up to Division I. In fact, half the teams in the ACC that made the playoffs moving up to Division I. All of them were pretty much the College Hockey South teams. And they were all promptly beaten by ESCHL alumni from last year, as this will pop a little bit out away from Steele. Markowitz trying to keep it away from the aforementioned Steele as Karpov has got it the near side. And now a little bit of a 2-for-1 Saturday special for Adam Lazine. Creates a little bit of space, and that drive from Kozycki once again up into the stratosphere. But we mentioned the ESCHL a couple different times, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in that second game as well. But you've got 2 teams coming over from the ESCHL after that league folded last year. And that was truly a powerhouse conference. You had Drexel and URI come over. Drexel, who beat URI in the 2024 ESCHL championship game in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. And URI, who comes in as the number 1 seed, their first ever number 1 seed for a playoff tournament in school history, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
They're certainly the favorites, as they will take on the number 8 Lehigh University Mountain Hawks directly after this game. So in about, we've been playing for about 25 minutes so far, so at this rate, probably around 8 o'clock at night. It's going to be a late one for us here at the Steel Ice Center.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one, though. Get to see Rhode Island.
That's a very fun URI team. That's a very fun Lehigh team as well. You know, but that ESCHL prowess and really come into play. Harris with a drive, just a little bit wide of the case. Sambuca with the rebound, and Huberger just caught across in time. That was a heads-up play out of Ryan Sambuca, collecting that carom from a captain of Harris, and Huberger just able to get back across to make the save. Already 18 shots faced, and he saved 16 of them, and we're seeing a high number of shots on one side of the ice right now, Matt. Another chance, another save out of Huberger, save number 17. I actually judged that went wide of the cage.
Quick reflexes for Huberger, too. He's made some nice ones. Can't blame him for that second one, that's for sure. And the first one, the 2-on-1.
There were the 2-on-1 and odd man rushes is, again, that's been the absolute Crisco of this Drexel team, where they've got such a good offense, but being able to finish games has really been their weak suit. We saw it a couple of times this season against teams like West Virginia, like Villanova, like the College of New Jersey a couple of weeks ago, where TCNJ beat them 6-5 in a shootout, I believe. Pietro Baccarin gets dumped as Quinn Alley will get dumped by Luke Body right in front of us. We got a very good vantage point. It's not as high as we would typically like to see, much as some of the other rinks we broadcast, like the Iceland Skating Center in Hamilton, New Jersey, or even the Cy Fieldhouse. Jacobs nearly unobstructed. Rebound came back over. Jacobs pots home his own rebound and scores! It looked like William Mikolas was going to snooker it through the wickets, but Jimmy Jacobs says, that's mine, man, and it's 3-1 Dragons. Well, the last thing you wanted to do if you were George Mason was wake up the Dragons' den, and that's exactly what they have done. As this Drexel program and its offense, we talked about it, firing on all cylinders imaginable. And they've got 3 goals with 5 minutes to go in this first period, and they are looking borderline unstoppable, but the Fat Lady has not nearly begun to sing just yet, Matt.
Yeah, Jimmy Jacobs, who set up that 2-on-1 for the first goal, now a goal and an assist, basically took control of that one.
He's a fight away from a Gordie Howe hat trick. I don't think we'll see that here this afternoon. But now for George Mason, you're just trying to look for anything. You got 1 goal on the Tyler Richmond so far, and that came off of a redirect. Kazitsky looking to go around. Again, Anton Kazitsky is on hat trick watch, scoring the first 2 goals in this game. And like we said, after the season that he has had, dealing with some injuries here and there, the grad student hasn't had nearly the season that he has had. You go back to the other couple of playoff appearances the last couple of years, and this season as a whole hasn't exactly had the season he imagined, but he is firing right now. Latham Hutchinson's drive is denied by Huberger. Doyle not able to keep it in the offensive zone. This will come back over where Markowitz has got it. Back over to Alley. Alley will get it back over to the 6 of McAllister Markowitz. Talk about a hockey name there, Matt.
Yeah, there's a couple good hockey names on these teams.
As Tim Morsico, the lone goal scorer for the Patriots, about a mile offside. 4:05 to go in the first period. 20-8 the shot ratio, and I just realized we haven't even done our sweater color reviews just yet with Drexel and their beautiful cream, blue, and yellow
They are
home
nice.
uniforms. Debuted them last season. George Mason with their road GM uniforms. Nameplates on the back as Marsico was trying to play it back over to Jasanis, who was partially blocked. Nameplates are well appreciated. I think you and I, both being play-by-play broadcasters, you for the Maryland Terrapins, who just recently got nameplates the last couple of seasons, and me for the Rider Bronx. We love us some nameplates, and that's why, I'll be honest. Junior hockey, they have a requirement to have nameplates on the back. And maybe we should bring that requirement to the ECHA pretty soon.
It's a broadcaster's delight when you get to see a last name on the back of a jersey. That's for sure, Trey.
As Baccarin in 7, not able to get it away from Quinn Alley, as Alley will skate it back over with 3:13 to go. Andrew Farley, the former Westchester Wolf, not able to get it away. Alley chips this. This goes off the stick of Ben Burkon, one of the 4 Drexel players named to the 2 All-Star teams, with 3 of the Drexel players named to the first All-Star team, Ryan Osorino being named as the first-team goaltender, with Ryan Sambuco and Jimmy Jacobs, I believe, also being named there. I believe actually Jacobs may have been named to the second team, but nonetheless, he's still an All-Star. That's bat out of the air by a high stick and quickly taken here by Harris. Harris trying to get around Hinkson. Here's Harris all alone. He just not able to get it on to Huberger, who got a stick into the captain.
Those were some nice moves. Man.
A dirty, dirty, dirty dangle.
Comes at you quick, too.
And Huberger, I cannot believe, he wasn't even able to read it. He was like, okay, you want dangle? Stick, lift, away.
Yeah, all he had to do was score. That's the only thing he missed.
Oh, Huberger dangerously coming out of his net, was trying to play it, and once again, James Sharp will give his goaltender the vulcanized rubber. 2:10 to go in the first period. It has been a good one so far. We knew, Matt, coming into this game that this was going to be one of our better matchups of the weekend. The 4 and 5 matchups, they're always so fantastic. And it's been a good one so far. Not as great as you would want to be for George Mason, as they're just getting dummy throttled right now with this Drexel offense.
Yeah, Drexel is playing with a really good pace. They've kept that up so far these first 18 minutes. It's been fun to watch.
And a couple players going down as Rotherman took down Ryan Lippy. As Rotherman finishing his check, Alley not able to keep it in the offensive zone. Price will send it in, just having to lift it in on the delayed offside. Surrett back over. Ryan Sambuco has been kept off the score sheet so far. Lifted over to Harris. Harris had it and lost it. Hinkson able to take it away from him, and coming back the other way with it was Price. Price not able to hold on to it. With 1:20 to go, stretch pass across, up for Sambuco. Sambuco, that's sticked aside by Huberger into the opposite Zamboni door corner. Doyle not able to keep it in at the blue line. Instead, will refill it back up for Sambuco. Sambuco, another drive into the Zamboni door on the corner-to-corner pass with 64 to go. Now it's Jacobs looking for an option. Final minute to play in a high-octane first period so far with Drexel leading 3-1, 22-8 the shots on goal. Potential numbers the other way. Goodwin trying to get on his horse as he is stopped there by Surrett. The 225 is able to fight for it. Price will keep it in. Try to get it back out, but a little too hot to handle there for the 25 of Goodwin. Kaczynski not able to get it out of the zone. Now here comes George Mason. Price was potentially looking for a lacrosse goal, thought better of it. Now starting to recycle it out here as that will go into the net of, or the glove I should say, of Tyler Richmond, not into the net. As a shot from Andrew Fisher goes wide with 25 and a tick to go.
Well, into the net of the glove.
Into the webbing of the glove.
The webbing of the glove. Oh, still got time for another shift for George Mason.
Yeah, and if you're James VMO and Kevin Fagerquist, you're just trying to look for any sort of adjustments, and you're looking for your back check is where you're looking to adjust here, because that's really been the strong suit of Drexel so far, has been the back check, and you're just looking to get, anything you can. Drexel doing a really good job, like you said, of it, this neutral zone trap defense. As the final seconds will tick off of the first period, one final chance here. Rotherman not able to get it around Ben Burkon. Burkon with a final laser all the way down as time expires. So the Dragons lead 3-1 after 20 minutes of play, 22-9 the shots. It's been all Drexel for the first 20 minutes of that opening period.
Yeah, they're playing with a really fast rhythm. It's been fun to watch. Tough to keep up for George Mason. Not only has the forecheck been strong for the Dragons, but they're just clearing off that neutral zone, not allowing the Patriots to enter with any opportunities, any numbers really. Started to open up a little bit as he went through the first period, but still, it's been all Drexel so far.
Well, ever since surrendering that goal, and before that even, the Drexel Dragons doing what they do best, and it's pressuring that offensive zone. We'll see if they're able to continue that for the final 40 minutes here. 20 down, 40 to go. We'll step aside for 20 minutes time, and when we come back, there'll be the start of the second period of play with the Drexel University Dragons leading the George Mason University Patriots 3-1 here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting's coverage of the ECHA tournament live from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And we're back for the start of the second period of play here for game number 3 of the quarterfinal quadruple header here of the ECHA 2026 tournament here, the Steel Ice Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, live on Breakout Sports Broadcasting here on YouTube. Trey Wright on the call alongside with Matt Fusillo. And after 20 minutes of play, the Drexel University Dragons hold a 3-1 lead over the George Mason University Patriots. And Matt, that was pretty much all Dragons for about 18 minutes of that opening 20.
Yeah, it was really all Drexel. Saw 2 goals from Kazitsky, and Jimmy Jacobs with a good period had that assist setting up the 2-on-1, the first goal, the opening minute of the game. Quick to get on the score sheet, and then they scored 2 more after that. Nice one from Marsico. But yeah, Trey, it's been all the Dragons so far.
22 shots in that first period. We'll go over the scoring statistics as well. 45 seconds into the game, Anton Kazitsky gets his first of the game, 5th of the season, with Jimmy Jacobs and Latham Hutchinson on the helpers, and then goal number 2 of the afternoon for Mr. 28 of Kazitsky. That time it was Ryan Lippy and Jimmy Jacobs on the helpers, so Jacobs 2 assists for 2 points on the day. Then the lead was cut in half. Actually, it was made 1-1, I should say, on that goal from Marsico. Andrew Fisher getting the only assist on that play. And then giving the team a little bit of insurance himself was Jimmy Jacobs, so he's got a goal and 2 assists as we're underway for the middle period. And quickly, no, we're not underway for the middle period yet. They didn't reset the clock.
The clock was not.
So the clock was not reset yet, so we're going to go ahead and do it again.
We're going to play 20 minutes and 5 seconds this period.
Great call, great catch by the referees. We didn't even notice this. I'm too busy going off of goal scoring statistics as Huberger will steer that one aside. Away from the net front, that third goal, Jacobs getting his 19th of the season for the former member of the Philadelphia Little Flyers. And the junior making it 3-1. The helpers on that play were from Eric Eisler and the 26 of Santino Tiberio. But not on the score sheet yet, but has been really chipping in his own way, has been the 21 of Andrew Body. And we were talking a little bit during intermission that you've got a personal connection that I was trying to figure out throughout the midway point through the season, but you're able to confirm it.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out. Andrew Body is 21 on Drexel. I used to broadcast his brother James at University of Maryland. Just saw his parents as well, so it's awesome how it comes full circle. You get to see the people that you used to call even a couple of years ago. Fun, brings back some memories.
Definitely does, as Hayden Surratt and Joe Petit were fighting for the puck. They'll come back over to the 25 of Goodwin. That one just popping right off the glass right in front of us. Here's Evan Mudrick. He might be off to the races in a potential 2-on-1. Mudrick with a shot. He scores! It looked like a nothing burger play, but Evan Mudrick able to hit the puck between the 5-hole of Huberger. And once again, less than a minute into the period, the Dragons find the back of the net. It's 4-1.
Well, once again, wasting no time. They scored first minute of the first period. They do it again first minute of the second period. 4 goals already, this time Mudrick, as you say.
And these two teams have played each other very fervorously. You go back to the previous 2 matchups, which Drexel and George Mason split the season, with Drexel winning 6-4 on October 31st, and then George Mason winning 6-5 on November 1st in that home and home for both those teams right at the transition between October and November. But again, this Dragons team, in their first year in the ECHA, they're looking to chew some bubblegum and take some names and kick some absolute rear end, and they've been doing a lot of that in this game. As it's going to be an unassisted goal for Evan Mudrick, his 9th of the season for the Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania grad student, just a little bit up the road, up just outside of the capital of the Garden State, the great state of New Jersey, Trenton. They've got a nice Mission Barbecue and a nice Raising Cane's in Fairless Hills. as Huberger will hold on for the pause. I know Colton Reynolds, our technical director, he loved that Mission Barbecue when we went there before a Widener game a couple years ago.
That's awesome. We had one right near my college campus. I was there every week.
As we approach dinner time here, it's about it's 5:40. It's 5:45. It's 5:45 already.
Not a sponsor, by the way. Maybe someday.
Potentially. We do endorse it, however, not officially, as Goodwin coming into the offensive zone, and now the Patriots just trying to get quick work here. But Mason has not been able to get a whole lot of offense that time on to Tyler Richmond as that one sails wide. Again, Richmond seeing only his 12th shot on goal, making his 11th save. With 18:02 to go in this second period, a bouncing puck from the 27 of Mikolas will be steered into the near side corner. Now here, George Mason, you're just trying to find your legs here as quick pass from Goodwin all the way down to the 21 of Nicholas Ransom. The other 21, we didn't see a whole lot of Ransom in that first period. This is slung all the way down, and Pietro Bacher in a country mile behind Fisher, who will touch up for the icing with 17:39 to go. And once we pan back over to the Drexel side of the ice, you can see the Lehigh University faithful and that team watching the second period of this game. Shot from Markowitz from long range, about 60 feet out, snuffed out once again by Richmond. The Lehigh, the host team of the tournament, taking on the University of Rhode Island Rams. And, you see an 8 versus 1 matchup, you automatically think that's just going to be an easy route for URI. But Lehigh has really come into their own, but they haven't had a whole lot of success in the ECHA. They just barely made it into the own tournament that they were hosting. But they could upset the Rhode Island Rams, who are looking for a nice, easy win. They're, of course, the only team in the ECHA. As a crunching hit there between Eisler and Goodwin over at the far side.
Yeah, you never know. Long trip for Rhode Island, not so much for Lehigh.
Marcica, the lone goal scorer for Mason. Trying to drive into the offensive zone, just barely kept in by Hinkler, and a blast goes wide. I wouldn't want to be in front of that absolutely blistering shot as this goes up into the rafter. As Wyatt Hinkson, he's got a cannon. You've got to have a cannon as a defenseman here in the ACHA Men's Division 1. We see a lot of defensemen have a lot of success. And you look over again at the Drexel side of things for their defense. Half the time I forget that Hayden Surratt is a defenseman, but the freshman he's really established himself as that go-to guy. And that go-to defenseman playing on that top pair with Brady Doyle. Doyle, the defense part of that duo, and of course Hayden Surratt doing Hayden Surratt things. But I think safe to say, you've got a lot of grad students, a lot of players whose last rodeo is this season, with guys like Matt Harris, like Anton Kazitsky, and Ryan Sambuco, just to name a few. Their last rodeo is this season. Their last rodeo is this weekend and then next Friday for the finals if they're able to make it. They're looking to go out the same way they did in 2024. They don't have any Nationals ambitions as that one gets redirected into the far corner. Sambuco, speak of the devil, trying to chase, but it's intercepted by Price. They're looking to go out in a blaze of glory. In fact, all these teams besides Rhode Island are. And Rhode Island, of course, trying to pick up a little bit of hardware on their side of things before they go out to St. Louis for the Men's Division I Tournament National Championships. Huberger's got it covered, fumbled it for a half second, but is able to hold on for the pause.
Oh, always a fun time of year when you talk about regionals, nationals, the ACHA playoffs. We're used to D2 with our alma maters, but still D1, D2.
You guys were just a shot away in overtime, or a goal away from overtime from making the AC or the regional tournament.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately falling to Virginia Tech there.
D2.
A very, very close game.
Yeah, ACC, D2. Another fun league, too.
Oh, yeah. ACC, D1, D2. I was talking with Mike the Sheriff yesterday at the M1 tournament, and he was like, yeah, that one just a little bit wide. That was a shot from the 27 of Mikolas, who just started a little bit wide. I was talking with Mike yesterday. I was like, yeah, we've got like 8 or 9 divisions. We're taking on a couple of the teams from up north next year. So
was that Delaware
busy.
You were at yesterday?
Yep.
Nice. That's good.
Delaware Blue Hens hosting the ACC tournament. Their semifinal games will be tonight over on the 412, our other channel, or our kind of friends over with James Witherwright and the Delaware Hockey Network. I'll give them a little bit of a plus as well. I'll give them a little bit of a plug as they've got 2 games later on. In fact, I think their first game between Syracuse as quick shot, quick goal! Right as we're talking about the ACC, Hayden Surratt, speak of the devil, makes it 5-1. And there was nothing that Lucas Huberger could do as Hayden Surratt barred down right over the left shoulder of Huberger. And the Dragons continue to keep on rolling.
And you were just talking about him, too. All the tools that he has as a defenseman. Gets his 14th goal. 5 goals now for the Dragons.
And the fact that he is only a freshman makes that even crazier as Ransom's shot deflected up by Richmond. He's going to make the stop. But like we're talking about, the ACC tournament for men's Division I is underway, and we've got, it's tournament weekend here in the last weekend of February for Division I. The ECHA coming down right to the final couple of weeks of their 25-26 season. Like you said, we had regionals. Regionals were completed for D2, and we've got nationals next weekend, I believe, with for D2, and then D1 right after that. Andrew Farley telling Ben Burkon to take a seat there, I believe. Surratt is going to get the credit for that goal, obviously. His 14th of the season for the freshman. And now Baccarin looking to add it on. It still looks loose, and they score again! Baccarin slid it over in the low slot. And William Mikolas picks up the loose change like it's milk money. The touchdown is on the board for the Dragons. And we're going to get a timeout here as James Viamo not happy with how his team is back-checking. We said that was going to be a point of contention in the locker room.
Yeah, I was just going to say after that 5th goal, I think we're approaching timeout territory. Now after the 6th one, finally we get that call. 3 new goal scorers on the score sheet for the Dragons this period with Mudryk, Surratt, and Mikolas. They're pouring it on. We're going to get a goalie change, too, it looks like.
And it looks like we're going to get Jonathan Verity, who will come in to replace Huberger. We talked about it a little bit right before the game, how there were 2 interesting goalie matchups between Richmond and Huberger. Of course, for Richmond, it's a little bit out of necessity, but for Jonathan Verity, he's going to come in. And the eventually owned Slovakian junior is 8-1-1 on the season, a GAA of 2.19 and a 91.2 save percentage. Coming in to try to light a spark under the jockstrap of this Mason program, who is just trying to find their legs. They've been blown out 3 goals in the opening 6 minutes of this second period. And we felt like this was going to be a little bit closer of a game than this was, Matt. But Drexel taking no prisoners, and they are routing the Patriots right now, cooking them alive with that Dragon heat.
Yeah, the game's not even halfway over. We've got 6 goals on the board.
Mikolas with another drive, save made by Verity for his first test of the afternoon. So Pietro Baccarin and Adam Lazine getting the 2 helpers on Dragons, the Drexel Dragons' 6th goal of the afternoon. Like I said, we're not even halfway home, and now Ryan Lippy's starting to get Olivia Newton-John's levels of physical. Tim Marsico crashing in, as still has the lone goal on the board for the Patriots, but Mason still trails Drexel by 5 goals. And now another odd man rush here for the Dragons. Mudryk drops back. Harris looking to join the parade. He scores! Oh, Captain, my captain, and Matt Harris kicks the convert right through the uprights. It's 7-1. And that top line, who was taking a little bit of a break here in the goal scoring, will join the parade. And now up by a touchdown are the Dragons.
Yeah, it's always tough, too, when you're the backup goaltender coming in for relief. You're sitting by yourself, at least in this rink, sitting by yourself, cold on the bench. You were on the ice for warm-ups, but now it's second period, so you kind of cooled down a little bit. And doesn't feel amazing if you're Verity letting one in right away, but also, you're coming in down 5 goals. It's a tough spot to be in. Now down 6.
Hinkson in the far corner. He gets launched in by by Andrew Body. I got the two brothers mixed up. I knew I was going to do that the second we mentioned it. And Body is going to take down a skater, and it only took us 8 goals before we got our first penalty of the afternoon. And it looks like it is going to be Andrew Body who will go to the sin bin for a trip. And this has been the biggest point of contention that we mentioned in the pregame show. The Drexel penalty kill has not been great, only operating at a 2/3 effectiveness of 66.7, good enough for 10th in the ECHA, compared to George Mason, whose power play is only 10.4. It is a stoppable force versus a movable object. And now on the penalty kill, Hutchinson trying to get it around Price. Not able to have any sort of success there, as into the diamond goes the Dragons. But if you're George Mason, you want to take advantage of this poor penalty kill. As you just need a goal here to get back in the contest, trailing by a 6-pack. Price across. Ransom deflects that up into the netting, off of the stick there of Steele.
Well, 38 seconds into the Body penalty. We always used to joke with James Body at Maryland. They're from Damascus, Maryland. Damascus, Maryland, not the Middle East. Different Damascus. By the way, James, I think your brother might be taller than you. What's all that about?
Yeah, Body sitting at that can't be right, 5'5", 121.
No, 6'5". Must be a typo.
That's 100% a typo on my part. Probably dating from back 2 years when I made these initial spotting boards for the Dragons. Off of the slap shot, not able to get any sort of power onto that was Rothermond. Rothermond now trying to create a lane for Alley. And now slowly making their way back in is Ransom. Ransom trying to get it back over for Rothermond. Ransom with the drive is just off. Rothermond behind the cage. Another shot there for Ransom. It's blocked and launching it all the way down on the Dragons. 35 seconds to go in the penalty against the 6'5" of Body. Potential numbers the other way, but not able to hold on where the Patriots and Karpov is going to go in offside with 27 to go.
I got a text from James Body saying he's not taller. James saying he's slightly taller. You gotta get your facts straight.
Is he still back down in Maryland?
Yep. Yeah,
Tell him to get in his car and come up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. We gotta do a height test.
President of Maryland hockey. Growing the team down in College Park.
Now you know that all those boys are going to be watching his baby brother putting on a show here. Still in the penalty box. He's about to spring out. One final chance and not able to get anything here on this power play are the Patriots. We're back to 5-on-5s as Jacobs will touch this into the offensive zone. Body back on the bench, and we're back to even strength. So successful kill, a rare kill for the Dragons in the game's first penalty minutes. Again, like I said, only took us 8 goals to get here. 7 of those goals belong to the Dragons, as they are absolutely dominating the Washington, D.C.-based JMU team. Jacobs has got a free puck, looking for his 4th point of the afternoon, and just barely closing the doors was Verity. Goodwin on the other way, looking to go 200 feet on the house call, but it's taken back there by Mikolas, one of the 6 different goal scorers in this game for the Dragons. Kaczynski takes it in, lays it up for Jacobs, who just hooks it a little bit wide. Price trying to get it back over for Goodwin. Nice stick in the lane there from Mikolas. That's played back to Quinn Alley. Alley across to Markowitz. Markowitz trying to get it up to Price, who's not able to dangle around Burkhan. Price will get it back right on the goal line. Richmond nearly panted it in, but it was quickly cleared out there by Kaczynski. Alley will keep it in. Taking it back the other way will be bodied just a little bit out of the reach of Ryan Sambuco, who to my knowledge, I don't believe Sambuco has scored yet in this game.
No, he's not.
Puck touch Hutchinson as he was coming on the bench. Goodwin still with it, with Lippy right to his 9 o'clock. Coming back the other way with it was Harrison. He'll set up Evan Mudrick on a 2-on-1. Mudrick across, sends it back over. What a shot and what a goal! And the Dragons are able to knot it on the board once again. It's 8-1. And right as we were talking about him, right on cue, Ryan Sambuco will pot home an empty netter. Essentially an empty netter off of a beautiful unselfish feed from Evan Mudrick. And the onslaught continues against the Patriots.
Every time we say something, it happens. We talked about Surrett. We talked about Sambuco not scoring yet.
Andrew Body has not scored yet, ladies and gentlemen. We like to put that out there.
Yeah, that means we're going to get a goal from 21.
Eric Eisler hasn't scored. Cedar Edo hasn't scored. I'm naming off the M2 guys from the previous couple years. So Mudrick definitely with the assist on that goal. We'll have to see if there's another one. I believe the other assist will probably end up going to either Hayden Surrett or Matt Harris. But again, the tools that we've seen out of Evan Mudrick, especially on this right wing, have been nothing short of incredible. And now the Dragons are going to go to the power play, their first of the afternoon, as we're going to get a cross-check against the Patriots.
Yeah, we talked so much about how strong of a first period the Dragons played. Well, here we are in the second period, 11 and a half minutes in. They already have 5 goals.
Travis Plylar will be the offending Mason skater. He'll go to the sin bin for a pair, and looking for a 9th are the Dragons. And their power play this season, 35.8, like we talked about. They are the highest octane power play in the ECHA. The penalty kill for George Mason only operating at 81%. We can officially cue the Bon Jovi in this one as we're only halfway through this game. As the Dragons look to make it 9-1. Shot through traffic, rebound came back over to Mudrick. He's looking for a third opportunity. It's still loose. Referee lost sight of the puck and will hold on for the pause right as trying to clear it out was Andrew Farley. Whew.
That is a good power play. You said 35.8. 25 percentage points higher than George Mason's power play. That is a big difference.
Mudrick off for the face-off once again. Will win it. Comes back over to Harris at the point. Harris across to Sambuco with another shot, partially deflected by a couple of green and yellow skaters. As Ransom looking to wheel it out. Farley to his left-hand side. Ransom trying to get it back over to Andrew Farley. Farley back to Ransom. Ransom with a shot, partially blocked. Rotherman not able to hold on to it here. A very aggressive power kill right now, but now the second penalty kill unit will come out here for the Patriots. We're just trying to hold on within 7 goals, and the Dragons looking to continue to play it on. Burkon back over to Jacobs with Price in front of him. Harris will remain out, back over to Burkon. Rather Jacobs to Sambuco. Sambuco to Harris. He gets it popped out, and now it might be a little bit of a 2-on-1 here, shorthanded. Goodwin fumbled the puck as Price was about a country mile into the offensive end. And when it's not going right, it is not going right for the Patriots, who thought they would have had a 2-on-1 shorthanded chance to get back in the contest. Instead, this comes out in front of the neutral zone.
Yeah, Goodwin slipped up just a little bit close to us, left side, trying to create that offensive zone opportunity. As you said, Price was too far offside. There's that little slip up, kind of cost you that whistle there.
Price wins the battle against Steele in the 2-10s in the faceoff circle. This is dumped back in by the Patriots, where getting it once again is Hayden Surrett. Streaking down the left wing is Kaczynski, still on hat-trick watch after scoring the first 2 goals of the game. Gets it back over to Hutchinson, who looks to join the parade, and that's sticked out of the zone. Surrett has in the defensive end. 6:58 to go in the period, 30 to go in the penalty against Plylar. 5 goals in this second period for the Drexel Dragons. They lead it 8-1. Looking to make it 9-1 is Surrett looking for his second, and Verity will snuff that out. 34 shots on net for the Dragons compared to 17 for George Mason. And Tyler Richmond has let one go behind him, and that one really came on a redirect from the 81 of Marsico. So Richmond in direct shots towards his way has been a perfect 16 for 16 so far. Kozitsky at the blue line, time winding down, 5 seconds to go in the penalty against Plylar. Plylar looking to spring out of the box and make it 5-on-5, he'll do so. Drexel not able to score on their power play, but they still hold the offensive zone, looking for a chance to steal, and it was blocked in front by a plethora of green jerseys. Marsico knocked off with the puck. A steal will send it in right into the glove of Verity, who will hold on for the pause once more.
Verity
continues to wind down here.
Maybe settling in a little bit for Verity. He's trying to make some saves. Again, it's always tough coming in cold, especially he's just thrown right into the fire. Came in, team already giving up 6 goals, I believe.
6 goals were given up by Huberger, and Verity has given up the last 2. And you never really expect to go, and especially in a playoff game as the backup goaltender, you don't expect to really be called upon, especially this early into the game, as Body with a crunching hit right at the doors of the half wall. Markowitz trying to clear it out, kept in there by Tiberio, and a knuckle puck deflects out of play. That may have caught a piece of Verity's mask, and he will reset. That was an impressive chip shot there from Tiberio, right in front of where we're broadcasting from, as it goes up into the netting, but time. We're 5:49 to go in the second period. Again, don't forget to catch our 4th and final game of the evening here in our quadruple header Saturday afternoon here at the Steel Ice Center for the ECHA Playoffs. As another hold and pause there by Verity. With the number 1 ranked University of Rhode Island Rams taking on the underdog, the number 8 Lehigh University Mountain Hawks. Matt Fusillo and myself will be on the call of that later on. Time to be determined, as right now we're at about 6:15 Eastern Time right here in the great city of Bethlehem and the great state of the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, is Farley tied up there with Lippy. Drexel leads 8-1, 5:21 to go in the second period. Taking it back was Markowitz, and George Mason has not really been able to get it past the opposing blue line. Talked about this neutral zone play, and now that's shifted a little bit back into the defensive zone. Drexel starting to lock up a little bit here, and they've been forcing a lot of dump and chases here and a lot of dump and changes from this GMU team, Matt.
Yeah, that is for sure.
Under 5 to go in the second period. Bacher in from his own side, slings it back over to Steele. A bouncing puck is onside. Nathan Steele at the Steele Ice Center looking to get a goal. What a story that would be. Instead, he'll turn it over, and now the other way with it is Price. 2-on-1. Marsico looking for a drive. He scores. Or does he?
I think it was a glove save.
I thought it was, based on the reaction, I thought that went in. He does not score. It remains 8-1. I am a moron. I will admit that.
No. It was a good save by
goal.
Richmond.
I thought he just snuck it right between the bar and the glove. And Marsico was all alone looking for his second goal, and just what a save out of Richmond. Now Matty Harris not able to mat it down out of the air. Hankson right at his 6 o'clock, the captain of 6. Trying to take it the other way is Rotherman. He gets tied up with Ben Burkon. Burkon lost the twig. We'll get it back over as Rotherman will release it out of the arm. Sambuco on the left wing. Try to go back to the center. Back on the other side. That will go wide once more. So both sides coming pretty close to adding on to this already impressive goal total. 9 goals on the sheet right now. As Harris gets it back over to Mudrick, barely onside with Sambuco. Alley able to take it away, and he'll get it back over to Markowitz, who will bury it over to Petit. Just goes back down, Mikolas with it. Burkon not able to get it out on the outlet, and now Price with a little bit of space. Price driving around, trying to give a little bit of bait and switch there to Richmond, who will remain tall. Shot through traffic, blocked by the first pair of tan and blue jerseys. Harris at the near side, able to get around the defense, but not able to hold on to the puck. Two captains throwing down over on the near side corner is Quinn Alley. Will fight with it with Matty Harris. Price joining the battle. Same thing with Kazitsky and Mudrick by the looks of it. Kazitsky and Latham Hutchinson, joining the fray. Hutchinson back over. Here's Kazitsky with a little bit of time and space. Not able to get around Markowitz. Kazitsky looking for a chance. And it just goes wide once more as he'll get a hit. Drexel buzzing once again. Verity will steer that into the opposite corner, and at the end wall with it are the Patriots. Jimmy Jacobs fresh off of the bench, not able to get it back over to Sambuco. Jacobs trying to knife it away from the 21 of Ransom. Here comes Ransom, that's Goodwin, not able to get around the other 25 of Surrett, who will pickpocket him. This a little too far out for Jimmy Jacobs. This will go all the way down. Sharp has got it, no icing on the play. Drexel will get some numbers changed here with 2:20 to go in the second period. Body able to create a little bit of time and space for Jacobs, who's trying to knife it back over to Body, who was denied. Surrett at the midline. Bouncing puck. Body back with it. Has Hutchinson to his right. Body waiting for a lane. Back across. Taberio at the point. Sends it over. Surrett back on net. And Verity is able to make the stop. Taberio with a shot. Not as much power as we've typically seen out of him. Snuffed out once again by the 32 of Jonathan Verity with $1:53 to go in the second period. 39-18 the shots. As Drexel continues to try to pour it on, Bacher in a drive, once again saved by Verity. Comes back to Hinkson. He'll chip it back out into neutral. Taberio chips it the other way. This one off the stick of Eisler. Eisler trying to beat out the icing, and he will. I guess he deflected it beyond the red line. Body's got it, hit in the corner by Lance Jasanis. That launches all the way out. And out of play. .40 shots now onto both Lucas Huberger and Jonathan Verity combined. I wasn't able to catch the shot total that Huberger faced. We'll get it. Those official numbers once we get into the second period. The end of the second period, I should say. Ransom at the near side. Trying to play it back there was Edo as his fourth line will come out here for the Dragons. Long stretch pass way away from Ransom. And we'll get in the stop and go style of play here, Matt.
Yeah, it's the witching hours of the second period. Keep having these whistles, these offensive looks for the Dragons. Not that they need it, but going to continue to get them. 1:15 on the clock.
Last thing you want to do is completely use your goal scoring reserves. But again, for Drexel, your goal scoring has never been a question of if with this team. It's really been the goaltending and the third periods, which have been a point of contention for this Drexel program. But they've got a 7-goal lead. I know a 3-goal lead and a 2-goal lead are the two worst leads to have in hockey. I don't know what they say about 7-goal leads.
Oh, we could coin our own term for that.
That would be the legitimate miracle on ice, if you will. Final minute of play in period number 2. A busy one for the Dragons, who have netted 5. A little too far out for Nathan Steele. This will come back over to Goodwin. He gets a body right in the near side wall. That was Ryan Lippy getting physical with him once again. Plylar not able to hold this one in. So we sent all the way down, and Bacherin trying to get it away from Markowitz. Hey, you got the 6 versus 7 matchup, so all the Gen Alpha kids watching this can have a laugh.
Oh, boy.
Goodwin with a drive. And he hits it way over the crossbar. Just about hit the scoreboard with that play. With 30.5 to go, we'll preview our URI Lehigh game here coming up directly after this contest. Still a period and 30.5 seconds to go. But URI coming in as the number 1 seed with white-hot momentum, a 10-game winning streak for the Rams against the Lehigh team that's on a 1-game losing streak. And URI, the prime favorites to win this tournament here. And the way that this game is going right now, the way that the matchups all are befalling right now, it would be if URI is able to beat Lehigh and Drexel is able to hold on with the final couple of seconds ticking down, one final chance Baccarin is not able to get it there. It's buried into the end wall, and a couple players are buried into the Drexel bench as Fisher and Baccarin get to know each other very well. But URI, if they're able to win against Lehigh, they will be facing Drexel tomorrow afternoon. Time to be determined, but that'll do it here for the second period of play. 8-1 your score. No notes for the Dragons, Matt.
Yeah, we talked about how strong of a first period it was. Well, they got 5 new goal scorers in the second. And to quickly run through that list, you got Mudrick, you got Surrett, you got Mikolas, you got Harris, and Sambuco. So they got 8 goals. Nothing much to note. Just close out the game strong. That's really all.
Well, the third period has been their weak point on the season. We'll see what they're able to do. But if you're George Mason, you're just throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at this program, trailing by a touchdown and extra point. But we'll step aside for the next 19 minutes and 15 seconds as we go into our second intermission break with the Drexel University Dragons leading the George Mason University Patriots 8-1 after 40 minutes of play here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. A long and arduous 40 minutes have been down and 20 minutes remain here in the third period of our third game of the afternoon, live from the Steel Ice Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, for our coverage on Breakout Sports Broadcasting for the Eastern Collegiate Hockey Association's Men's Division I playoffs. Here on BSB, Trey Wright and Matt Fusillo on the call. And the rest of this game at this point could seem like a little bit of a formality. 8-1, Drexel leads thanks to 5 goals scored by the Dragons in that middle period. 5 different goal scorers for Drexel as well. But it has certainly been a game of all time for George Mason. I was texting TCNJ head coach Paul Baccio on between this game, and he said, we played Drexel better than this. As one of Drexel's 7 losses outside of regulation coming against the Lions of TCNJ. But 40 down or 20 to go as we are back here, and Drexel just looking for a big 20 minutes to try to close things out. I was talking with Tyler Washner during the intermission as well, and he was like, yeah, big 40, but even bigger 20 to try to close things down, because it doesn't matter, as nearly off to the races with Sambuco. Got a little bit of a step, and he goes into the offensive zone. Not able to test Verity just yet, but now pinned into the corner boards. Both of these players, both of these teams, a little outside for Goodwin. Goodwin sending it down. Petit looking to drive around, and Petit got tied up with the referee. Nothing that he could do there, but it's really just been that type of game for George Mason, as Harris will get it back over to Mudrick. And he backhanded it back over to the invisible man of Claude Rains. Nowhere home. This will go to the neutral zone. Thorne down the near side. Quick shot. Richmond will steer it aside. Comes back out to the low slot, but nobody was home in green and gold. Drexel player missing a glove. That was Latham Hutchinson, who will pick up the glove, unintentionally dropping one of the mitts. Rotherman had it, lost it. Goes on the offensive zone, and Rotherman trying to push it back up there for the 12 of Thorne. Back out to Fisher, and we're going to get a penalty. And it looks like it's going to be Tyler Rotherman, who will be the offending Patriot, going to the box. He gave Latham Hutchinson a little bit of a your number one whack as on his way there. And the frustration's starting to boil over a little bit, Matt, here with GMU trailing 8-1.
Yeah, and here is a chance for goal number 9 for the Dragons.
Whose power play, they've only had one crack at the power play so far today, but they were 0 for 1. Did have quite a few chances on a Jonathan Verity, but Verity, to his credit, has been able to steer all of them aside. As looks like getting a 2 and a 10 actually is going to be Tyler Rotherman for unsportsmanlike conduct. This pops back out, and now off to the races is Ransom. Here comes the back check of Surratt, however, saving the day.
Great hustle by Surratt.
So Brandon Shear will also be in the box here for GMU, so I believe that's going to be a 2 and a 10 assessed to Tyler Rotherman for unsportsmanlike conduct. Is going to be the 10, and I believe probably just a hook is going to be the 2. Short-handed here, coming the Patriots, and Richmond makes the save. And we're going to get a penalty against Drexel now. We'll get some 4-on-4. It's going to be a hook going against Latham Hutchinson, so both 2s will be in the sin bin.
Well, this hasn't even really been a physical game at all. We've seen some big hits, but when you talk about playoffs and you talk about teams that could be rivals at least, this is not the most physical game. I mean, it is lopsided on the score sheet, but already a couple penalties to start the third.
Price wins the draw. Markowitz trying to keep it in. We'll get some of John McCooch's favorite brand of hockey, some 4-on-4 for the next minute and 15. Now we got the physicality brewing as Lippy was sent down. Markowitz keeps it in. We'll play it back at the top of the zone. Markowitz back over, and this time is not able to keep it. It is right between him and Price. Jimmy Jacobs trying to keep it away from Markowitz, and he's trying to take it away from him. Sambuco tied up with Quinn Alley. Now Alley gets on his horse. Looking to backhand it back over to Price, who was a little too far ahead of the play. And it gets it back over. Price on it once again. George Mason wearing their green road uniforms with yellow accents, and the Drexel Dragons wearing their cream, blue, and yellow home white uniforms with blue shells and helmets. Santino Tiberio. Send it back over to Jimmy Jacobs in the 4-on-4. 3 forwards on the ice for Drexel. Sambuco comes into the offensive zone looking for his second goal of the game, looking for the backhander short side onto Verity, who will quickly read it and cover with 19 seconds to go in the 4-on-4. Whereas George Mason will get an abbreviated power play once this time expires.
Well, Verity had that second intermission, kind of collect yourself, get a little bit of warm up or whatever else you need to do. You get that full break. It's always big for a goaltender coming in for relief. Gave up 2 goals so far.
10 seconds to go in the initial penalty to Rothermond. Is it ready to spring out of the box is Braden Schaefer. Launching it all the way down right as time expires. As Schaefer is out of the box, that will be an icing against the Dragons. And now a chance here with 35 seconds on the power play for George Mason to try to claw back in a little bit, trailing by 7. Again, it was 16:30 to go in the third period. Anything, a comeback would be national headlines. And of course, that's not what Drexel wants. Hinkson shot, Waffle boarded down by Richmond. Hinkson gets his own rebound. They're not able to keep it away from Eric Eisler, who will play it back over to Ben Burkon. Burkon launches it all the way down, a bouncing saucer, which is kept down there initially by Verity. Plays it back over for James Sharp.
And with the way the Dragons are playing, too, putting the rest of the league on notice these playoffs.
They certainly have. We go into these first 2 games where they were very, very close contests, and a big hit at the far side. We're going to get a penalty against George Mason.
That's definitely going to be a call.
That was Travis Plylar. I believe he ran over either Latham Hutchinson or William Mikolas, but irregardlessly,
Boarding is the call.
I believe was it a board or a hit from behind? So right as that penalty expired against the Dragons, they'll get a power play, their third of the evening. 0 for 2 with that second one a little bit abbreviated after committing a penalty of their own. It is indeed going to be a boarding minor. Harris setting up Sambuco with a drive, and that's stopped there by Verity and cleared. Richmond will get it back over for Harris, and again, Tyler Richmond, 20 saves on 21 shots. He has been called upon when he has been on it when he's been called upon as Burkon with a blast. That's going to sting tomorrow as Jonathan Verity with a nifty glove save in the splits.
Nice save there by Verity. Flashing the leather, as they say, windmill save.
43 shots for Drexel. I believe the 18th shot faced for Jonathan Verity, if memory serves me right. Body shot denied. Eisler in the corner trying to dig after it, and there he is. Eisler thought about playing for the Michigan for a moment. Instead, we'll play it back over. Short side chance, in and off of the iron. Net came off of its moorings and is promptly fixed there by the on-ice officials. Comes back over to Tiberio. Gonna get it back over to Edo. He'll turn it over, and now another chance on the far side for Jasanis, who's brought down. George Mason wanted to call. They're not going to get it. Tyler Woishner giving directions from his own end. Jasanis chasing after this with Eisler, who will quickly take it away from him. Eisler gets launched into the glass. Taken back here by Ryan Lippy. Lippy trying to draw back over to Luke Body. Lippy leading the Dragons in penalty minutes this season with 68 coming into this afternoon. None yet on the board so far. 25 seconds to go in the board against Plylar. Tiberio keeps it in. It's redirected by Bonnie, but over towards the Zamboni doors, and the Dragons continue to hold the offensive zone. Redirect, loose puck. Not able to bang it home with the Dragons, who still lead by 7. And this is cleared out by Marsico, still the lone goal scorer for George Mason. You go all the way back to what seems like an eternity ago to that first period, Matt, when Marsico was able to redirect that just underneath of the glove of Richmond. It looked like that George Mason was going to get right back into the contest. They were trailing 1-0. They had tied it up.
Yep.
And now it has been all Drexel ever since that point with 7 consecutive goals. And George Mason has not had any answers, nearly an 8th there as Kaczynski was looking for a hat trick. Goodwin, 2-on-1. And a shot partially blocked by Doyle. Still, it's loose, and Doyle able to clear it away from the low slot. And now it's even numbers the other side as the penalty expires. Doyle looking to join the parade right up into the glove of Verity for the pause.
Well, you mentioned, Trey, that was that last goal, that the only goal from Marsico was the equalizer at 1-1. It just speaks to how you never know how a hockey game is going to unfold. I mean, you go through this game, 7 unanswered goals, and yeah, they owned the first period, Drexel, but it was still 1-1 at one point. And here we are now, 8-1.
13-12 and counting to go in the third period. Still 8-1. Drexel leads, 3 shots away from putting a 50-burger on 2 of the George Mason goaltenders. Verity has seen 2 goals go behind him. Lucas Huberger, who started this game in net, let in 6. Goodwin will outlet this back to the neutral zone, where it's quickly slapped back in by Steele. This goes all the way out, and Goodwin on a little bit of a partial breakaway, but he's not able to hold on to it as Doyle will take the puck away from him, trying to set things up for Surrett, who was potentially tied up. Good keep at the blue line from the captain of Quinn Alley, as he'll launch Adam Lazine into the half-wall dasher. Drexel player on the ice, couldn't tell who that was. I believe that may have been Mikolas. A little bit of danger in the low slot, but it's steered out by Eisler. Doyle at the half wall. Holding up, trying to take as much time as he can with 12-11 to go in the third period. Steele in his own end, being held up by Jasanis and Karpov. Banked off of the boards. Eisler has got it across the red line. He'll put one on, and waffle boarded down once again by Verity. Jasanis will hit it past the red line to negate the icing. Burkon on the other way, as he nearly collides with Price over in the far corner once again. Burkon winning that battle, trying to keep it away from him as Marsico, the alternate captain. Back to Alley, the captain. Popped back out to the neutral zone, a little too far out for Sambuca. Now it's Mikolas. Mikolas with it once again as he got that right back from Tiberio. Mikolas trying to keep it away from Sharp. And this will skitter all the way down. Like we said, it kind of feels like this third period is a little bit of formality compared to the end of that second period of the game previous to this NYU versus Westchester. As Harris drops back, Sambuco looking for a second and partially getting a glove on that was Verity. But a very different feeling in this game with 11 minutes to go.
Crowd is falling asleep here in the third.
Looking for a little bit of goals. As I think this is the longest in the game that Drexel has gone without a goal, which says a lot. They got 2 goals in the first minute of each period, except for this one right here, where the score has remained 8-1 for the opening 9 minutes and 22 seconds. Farley on the stretch pass. Potential 2-on-2. Farley shot pillowed aside by Richmond. Follow-up chance on the rebound. Trying to get it back over. It's popped out of the zone by Eisler as Goodwin. Lost the twig. Will go back to the bench for a fresh one. And Surrett bounces it. This deflects off of the stick of Markowitz. And he will have to surrender back to his own side. Markowitz nearly getting upended by Edo. Big players colliding in the boards. Here's Lippy with a drive, and he missed it by about 1,000,000 feet. I didn't mean to sound that bad. I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Lippy. Markowitz at the near side. He'll send it into the opposite corner, nearly batted out of the air by Tiberia, who will try to chip it out. DeSantis is tied up, and a big hit thrown by Thorne, and he's going to get a penalty for interference. And the hits just keep on coming as George Mason surrendering their 4th power play of the night, as that could have been a charging call as Thorne was charging up a hit. That was a hit stick.
Yeah. Sent him
Level
flying.
hit there from Dylan Thorne, the Ashburn, Virginia sophomore. 24 games played on the season, 17 points and now 33 penalty minutes. Drexel 1 shot away from hitting 50 shots on goal. They'll get it right there, as Verity is able to make a nice save, still trailing by 7.
Nice read through traffic there by Verity.
And it will be shot number 50 for the Dragons compared to the 22 that have been amassed so far for George Mason. Hayden Surratt, one of the 7 different goal scorers we've seen on this entire depth scoring program, is Baccarin. He's going to get tied up with Andrew Farley. Baccarin in the play, and he's just going to go full wrecking ball mode. Kept in by Hutchinson. Hutchinson to Steele. Steele looking for Baccarin, who is a little bit out of position. Back to Doyle, quarterback in this power play, redirected over the crossbar. This comes back out, collected by Surratt, who will take it back to his own side of the ice for a brief moment. 1:13 to go in the interference minor against Thorne. Surratt looking for a second. Nearly cleared out, it will be, as Baccarin not able to hold on to the puck. Baccarin to Surratt. Surratt looking for a lane. Here he comes, wearing 25 for the Dragons. We'll try to bank it back over to Hutchinson, and so we'll get it back over to Baccarin. Baccarin with a chance and just over the bar. Surratt not able to get a hold of this vulcanized rubber. And this time he'll play it all the way down with 44 seconds to go and 8:31 to go in the 3rd period. Trying to milk off as much clock as possible. Still up by 7. Second power play unit will come back out here with Ryan Sambuco. Fresh off of the bench. Sends it through the blue paint, but nobody was home, and the Dragons continue to press. 23 to go in the penalty against Thorne. Jacobs at the near side corner. Surveying at the wall, gets it to the half wall. Back over to Jacobs. Jacobs. Sambuco playing quarterback. He and Jacobs will play patty cake with it. Jacobs was not able to get anybody in the low slot. Mudrick with it, back across to Jacobs. Time expires on the penalty. 4 for 4 on the penalty kill are the Patriots, and Drexel has not been able to net anything on the man advantage just yet.
Surprising they're not shooting as much as they have been.
They're also up 8-1, so that could have a little bit to do with it, as a shot right there just steered aside. Verity wasn't able to get a piece of it. Collected back by Mikolas, one of the goal scorers. Deflected past the red line by Burkon. Verity comes out to play it. Nice tape-to-tape pass over to Price. Price in a 2-on-2. Trying to get around Surratt. Lost the handle for a moment and not able to get there was Goodwin. This comes all the way back down. Verity with it, trying to keep it away from the ever-dangerous Matt Harris. And Fisher will receive it at the far side. Fisher surveying, trying to get it back into the mid-slot, 40 feet out for Lance Jasanis, no dice. Marisco off the back skate of Body. This will find Edo at the far side. Edo to Lippy, who's not throwing bodies and missing the net yet again. Two on two, Patriots eastbound and down with the puck. Quick shot, pad save, rebound, Richmond got them both. Back and forth we continue to go as Body will send this down. Will it deflect off of any skaters? It will not. Alley first one back to the puck, and we get a pause with 6:15 to go. Taking a look at the next game here on our list between the University of Rhode Island Rams and Lehigh University Mountain Hawks, we have the starting lineups here. We have the scratches, we've got the starting lineups, and we got the rosters for what's going to be a really, really fantastic game. We do know that the goaltending matchup is going to be Jake Brown for Lehigh versus Nick Marangola for the Rhode Island. And that's just steered aside by Richmond, much to the delight of the Drexel faithful. Again, that game Moving directly after this one here on your home for the ECHA tournament, Breakout Sports Broadcasting, broadcasting all 7 games on the weekend. All 4 quarterfinal games, the 2 semifinal games tomorrow, and the championship on Friday the 7th. Looked like it was a little bit offside, but I think the Lions people want to go home as well. It's up into the ceiling, and there's really nothing borderline about that. Chip shot.
No, they
up
should
into
play
the
it.
stratosphere.
Play it.
I think if we had to play pucks going out of play, then we might as well have running clock.
Yeah. Anytime we played a game growing up, off the wall or off the ceiling was always in play.
Taking a look at the starters for these both teams. The starting forwards here, Corey Zabo, Cam Sear, and Damon Valente. Starting forwards for the Rams with Zach Gold. And actually, it's going to be Shane Mulhern, Cam Sear, and Corey Zabo, the starting forwards, with Damon Valente and Zach Gold, the starting defenseman. Verity coming way out for the pause with 5:11 to go. And Nick Marangola make out the starting 6 for Rhode Island. And then on the other side of things for Lehigh, 27 of Ferdinand Berghardt, the 12 of Morgan Waddell, and the 26 of Mason Goldstein, the starting forwards, with Nick Mulder and Ted Justice, the starting defenseman, and Jake Brown, the Mickleton, New Jersey native. Got the start between the pipes for Lehigh in the 1 versus 8 matchup.
Saw some of those guys during the second intermission from both teams. They're all locked in, getting ready for their game. They know the stakes. One of them wants to defend their 1 seed, and the other wants to play spoiler.
Quick shot there once again by the Dragons, and that was Jimmy Jacobs looking for a second. Jacobs 5 points on the night, if I'm not mistaken. With under 5, count 'em, 5 to go in period number 3. Drexel still 50 shots on the board. There's shot number 51. And this goes back out to the neutral zone. Should be a really, really fun game coming at you very soon here on BSB. As the Drexel Dragons will join the Westchester Rams, as well as the Villanova Wildcats, as 3 of the 4 teams that'll be playing back here tomorrow afternoon. Cody Decker will have both games on the call. As we're down to the final 4:12 of the 3rd period. Ransom just trying to end this onslaught here.
We have several broadcasters here at BSB. It's not like Kenny Albert calling 4,000 Olympic hockey games.
And then immediately having to call a Rangers game the night after, or a couple days after. This goes wide of the cage. Richmond didn't even have to get a piece of it as we take a look at the upcoming playoff schedule. With games at noon and 3 p.m. tomorrow. Cody Decker and Carollo Pascal on call for both of them. And then a couple of days from today, about a work week away from today, will be the ECHA final on Friday, March 7th. Right here on BSB, Mike Nasisto and Carollo Pascal will be on the call for the championship for the 2026 season of the Eastern Collegiate Hockey Association. All games played right here at the Steel Ice Center. This is my first time here at Steel, and this has been a fantastic facility to say the least. And it's been a fun one. It's been a fun season here in the ECHA. We've seen a lot of ECHA teams here whenever we'll be calling, whether it be Rutgers hockey or TCNJ hockey, as with how small the NECHL is, these teams have to find a lot of ways to try and fill out the rest of their schedule, as Verity will make another save. So we see a lot of these ECHA teams playing here. We've seen George Mason play TCNJ and Rutgers. We've seen Drexel countless different times here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. We've seen NYU a couple times. We saw Westchester once last year. We've seen Villanova a couple of different times. So we here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting know the ECHA very, very well. And suffice it to say, we're bringing you what has been a really great tournament so far. Hopefully this is the only clunker game of the weekend, as Baccarin nearly was breaking out for that. But again, that just shows how good Drexel is, and all those overtime losses. really start to add up at the end of the season. That's why they were in the 4 seed. But they have played from the underdog spot before. They were the champions of the ECHL, I should say, back in 2024 when they came into that tournament as the 6th seed over the Rhode Island Rams. Sharp shot through traffic, steered aside. Tiberio with it, with time continue to wind down as we're down to the final 2 minutes of the third period. Baccarin nearly running right into the 10 of Price. Edo's drive, rather Sambuco, will go into the gear with $1:46 to go. And the way things are stacking up right now, Matt, if URI is able to beat out Lehigh, we would get a rematch of that ESCHL tournament game from 2024 between Drexel and Rhode Island, with Drexel beating out Rhode Island in that contest with a final score of 5-2. URI looking for its first conference championship since 2012, and the Dragons looking for their first conference championship since 12 years after that in 2024. And George Mason just looking for a little bit of a silver lining here in this game. It's a big hit. We got a drag, and that was Sambuco. Rather make that Surrett, who was down over at the far side. Fortunately, he's able to get back up to his skates, but he certainly got his world rock there, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like a clean hit. I mean, referee was right in front of him. Thought it maybe could have been a little bit high, but no call. Nice clean hit.
I mean, it's a 7-1 game with exactly a minute to go, as now the Ice Capades hitting at center ice. We've got players going all over the place.
Drexel's looking forward to tomorrow, that's for sure.
They definitely are. Only a handful of shots, only 12 shots in this period, as more players getting dusted up. Verity forced to make the pause there, as that was Mikolas and the 81 of Marsico, who got a little bit of a dust up. They'll go back to their respective benches. Not nearly as much fireworks in this game as we saw between NYU and Westchester, where that team nearly ended up with a full-out couple of brawls midway through that game, with I think there was like a combined hour of penalty minutes in that game. Final 40 seconds over the crossbar, looking on the goal line, and it's in. So with 36.3 to go, a goal. I think Pietro Baccarin hit that off of the net. That looked like a goal that you would probably play in Wayne Gretzky for a Big Mac for.
Yeah, that goal is really going to be the difference maker in this game, Trey.
Not sure who will score. I believe it may have been Ben Burkon who tipped it in, as it deflected off of the back glass over the crossbar. And we'll see who it actually went to. It's either Baccarin or Burkon. But if that's not this game in a nutshell, it's actually going to be Eric Eisler who's going to get credit for the goal, as a crunching hit between Baccarin and Jasanis with 20 to go. So Eric Eisler will get his first goal of the weekend. And now we're going to get a penalty here with 12.6 to go. It's going to be a rough. So Ben Burkon, who did not end up getting that goal, will end up going to the sin bin, though. With 12.6 to go in the third period.
The game is not over.
If they, the day they make a hockey goal worth 8 points is the day that I will probably end up calling water polo. George Mason looking to end the onslaught. Quick shot blocked there. A little bit of friendly fire. 6 seconds to go in the third period. Jasanis looking for a little bit of a silver lining. Comes back over to Karpov. Karpov knocked off, and that will do it. 9-1 your score. 8 unanswered goals for the Drexel Dragons. And they will thump the George Mason University Patriots to the final score of 9-1. Tyler Richmond, 26 for 27. 8 different goal scorers for the Drexel Dragons, and they emphatically will establish themselves in the playoffs, and they will move on to play tomorrow. And this is a trend that'll go in the favor of Lehigh here. Keystone State-based teams, 3 for 3 in the playoffs so far. Drexel, Villanova, and Westchester.
There you
all
go.
from the great state of Pennsylvania. Great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I should say.
We'll have to see if that holds true for the fourth game.
Well, trends were meant to be broken. That's exactly what Joe Augustine, Shane Mulhern, and the University of Rhode Island Rams are looking for here. But on behalf of everybody at Breakout Sports Broadcasting, we say thank you so much for tuning into game number 3 of our quadruple header slate here. Your final score from the Steel Ice Center, Drexel University Dragons 9, and the George Mason University Patriots 1. On behalf of Matt Fusillo, my name is Trey Wright. On behalf of our technical director, Colton Reynolds, our camera operator, Emily Cott, we say so long for now. We'll be back here on BSB for game number 4 of our quadruple header between URI and Lehigh in about 30 minutes' time, right here on Breakout Sports Broadcasting. But on behalf, but for George Mason fans and for Drexel fans alike, so long. We'll see you later.